This is the revenue I made in only 2.5 weeks of dropshipping last month, just to show you an idea of the numbers that we're pulling right now. So we did some pretty crazy numbers last month in January, and those are the exact figures that I got from my main store selling my current winning product. Now I've taken a little bit of a break recently because it has been Chinese New Year, and since I was starting from scratch and this was the first winner of the year and my second winner in total, I didn't quite have enough capital to actually buy any stock to actually take me through Chinese New Year. So I have, just like most people doing e-com, had to take a break for around 2 or 3 weeks, but we'll be back on around the 18th of January to start selling again. So I want to show you guys some tips and tricks based on the core lessons I've actually learned while scaling up this winning product, and try and teach you from the trials and tribulations I actually faced, because I faced a whole bunch of challenges when trying to actually run this product up. So I want to explain these things so when you guys do scale your first winning product, you don't run into the same problems that I did, or if you do, you know exactly how to prepare and hedge yourself against them, because you are going to run into some real tough situations, and if you don't know what you're doing, it's going to set you back a real long time. So the first thing is creatives are everything, right? Ad creatives in 2023 and now 2024 are the main thing which is going to drive your success with your ads. This is also more so on TikTok ads, which I'm actually focusing on this year. You guys know on this channel I was just consistently peddling information on Facebook ads and Meta last year, but this year I've committed myself to focus basically only on TikTok ads because I feel like there's some real money to be made there. And this product that I showed at the start of the video was actually on TikTok ads too. Now creatives are everything. The ad video itself, the ad creative, is usually what drives the sales, and also what the platform uses with its algorithm to actually find your ideal customer. So the ad creative and how it's edited, its hook, and how it's generally marketed towards your customer is how they're going to find your avatar for you. Ripping creatives is something which people have done for a while, and you can still make a lot of money with that. I know people are literally stealing videos right now and they're making a lot of money off it, but that usually only works on Facebook, because on TikTok ads there's something called ads exhaustion. So after a few days or maybe like a week or two, the ad creative will start to exhaust and the results will severely start to decline. So you need to consistently keep pumping out ad creatives. Taking creatives works on Facebook. I've done it in the past, it seems to work, but now I only edit my own videos, and if I rip content to test, I will usually try and recreate the video and make it better, or use it as inspiration to make creatives based on what's already worked. Knowing how to edit your own creatives is really going to set yourself apart in the market, because everyone out there just rips creatives, and there's really so little competition with dropshipping, because from like the 1% of the people who do actually start, there's like 1% of those who then actually try and get past the first hurdles, and then there's like 1% of those guys who actually know what they're doing, or at least try and think outside the box. So you're only going up against like the 0.1% of people who actually are adept at what they're doing. So it's kind of an easy market to actually kind of just crush if you actually get a good product, right? Because most people don't know what they're doing. Most people are just ripping creatives and they don't really know how to market stuff. So I'd recommend don't rip creatives, especially if you're on TikTok. Learning to edit your own creatives is such a hack, honestly. Since I've done YouTube for so many years, I kind of know how to edit videos. I'm like above average at editing. I'm not the best video editor, but I know how to edit. So I learned and taught myself how to edit ad creatives that really convert. And I've kind of got the right technique to do it with this current product that I've been selling. So I know what ad creative really converts and what works well for the certain niche which I'm actually selling in. What I first did is, when I was first doing the market research, let's say you're using like a product research tool like PP Ads or Miner, which I also have linked below if you want to check that out. You want to find a working product, and then you want to see like what the competitors are doing to sell that product. And I'll see what their best performing ads are, what ads have the most engagement, and then I'll try and use that as a formula to kind of remake it with a similar style. And then I'll find a recipe for what works, because if that creative converts, they've either got a really good hook, they've got really good pacing, or they know how to target the person to get the right customer for what they're selling, right? So I'll usually try and use that as inspiration, then model my own creatives off those. With TikTok ads, one thing I've realized is that creative exhaustion, where your ad creatives start to lose performance over time, means that you have to consistently be on the ball with peddling out constant new videos and ad creatives to actually stay relevant and stay profitable. Most people you see doing like 100k months or scale up to crazy figures, they need to consistently keep reintroducing new creatives, keep editing new ads, and keep pushing pushing them out into the campaigns to actually stay above water. Don't think you can just rip creatives in 2024 and stay profitable, because it just doesn't work that way, right? What I actually did as my own personal strategy, I'm going to share a little bit of source with you, is basically when my product was at its height before I stopped it before Chinese New Year, I would edit 15 new ad creatives every single week with the same hooks usually, but like different shots, and then I would use different trending TikTok songs which are working right now, and then I'd cut different videos. Some of them would be similar to the ones that already worked, but with new trending sounds, different cuts, but like quite similar. And then I just test those, like 1 or 2 of them each day, because you should always be testing. And I test those in my testing campaign. If they worked, I'd throw them into my CBOs and just scale up the budgets, right? So you should always be testing new creatives to keep the product profitable, because sometimes the product doesn't go unprofitable, it's just that you're not pushing out enough ad creatives, they're getting exhausted, or you're not reaching different markets by actually appealing to them. So that's really important. Focus on the creatives, that's literally everything. If you have a really good creative and a good offer, you can sell basically any product as long as there is a value proposition to it, right? Eventually, the funny thing is too, is my competitors who were in the space began to actually steal my ad creatives, which was also quite frustrating, because that also makes your ads exhaust quicker too, because it's like a shared ecosystem. So them stealing my ads was ruining my performance, but the way that I managed to stay ahead of the game and stay ahead of them is I was making like 15 ad creatives at least per week. So I was just pumping out new ones when mine stopped working, and their numbers were just crashing because they weren't making their own. So if you want to stay ahead of the market and the competition, you need to be editing your own creatives, or at least getting a lot of creatives into the mix to keep numbers going. Obviously, content theft actually really impacts your performance on TikTok, so I did actually have to DMCA some people, which I really don't like. What I did first is I actually warned them, I messaged them, then it got annoying, so I just DMCA'd them, right? You just have to do it. Now, if you don't know how to edit your own ad creatives, or you don't really have the time to do so like I do, there is agencies out there that can actually do that for you. So when you've actually chosen a product, how can you actually market that product? Well, let's talk about the most important thing, which is actually ad creatives as a whole. With 2024 kicking off, it's time for a new philosophy. It's time for a new year, new ads kind of philosophy, a new approach, a change of strategy. Now, if you're serious about taking your dropshipping to the next level in 2024, you need great ads to match a great product. Once you've chosen a so-called winning product, you need some good ad creatives to actually make customers be interested in that product. Now, you can't have a winning product without a winning ad. It just makes no sense. It just doesn't work. Ads are the things that make people click on the product, that go to your landing page and actually make the purchase. And one thing that not everyone knows about is it's not just TikTok, it's actually TikTok and also Facebook that are focused on creatives. It's all about ad creatives now. It doesn't necessarily even matter who you're targeting anymore. If your creative's good, your product will convert, and then you just scale from there. Now, I actually struggled a lot as a beginner because I was making my own ad creatives and they just didn't work. I didn't get many views, and back then I didn't really understand marketing, and I was also mostly just ripping my ads, so it was a hit or miss, and some of them were just oversaturated because everyone was using the same ads. Now, before I actually ran Facebook ads and I was big into Facebook, I actually ran TikTok ads, and that's where I actually found my first winning product. I personally used the TikTok split testing package from Viral Ecom Ads at the time because they were the biggest ad creatives agency out there, so I actually purchased some videos from them. And I saw a pretty decent boost in my sales even before I even knew really how to be good at ecom. Now, even though the first product I actually ran wasn't a winner before I found my winner on TikTok, I actually got a decent amount of sales just because the ads were actually that good. If you want to get optimal results though with ad creatives, you need to run what's called A/B tests. That means that you're running a dynamic creative with multiple different ads, headlines, and text combinations to basically get the highest performing ad combination to see what actually sticks. Now, what made Viral Ecom Ads actually stand out when I personally used it was that they have Facebook and TikTok split testing packages. So depending on which ad platform you're actually trying to sell on, there is actually an option on there too. So you can basically test multiple variants of ads. You basically get like 3 ad variants to run, and you see which one has the best performance out of all 3 and which one actually converts the best. Now, I actually heard somewhere in the community on Discord, these guys actually create the ads based on what worked for them, and the website says that they've generated over $30 million in sales, so I guess it works pretty well. Now, there's also the image ads testing package, which I think is something that most people sleep on. Don't be sleeping on image ads, right? I run image ads for my main lifestyle brand, which I'm trying to build right now, and I get a pretty good click-through rate on a lot of them. Sometimes I've even seen a higher click-through rate on my image ads, just a basic snapshot of the product, over really well edited video ads. So don't think the image ads don't work, because they actually really do. Now, what I like liked about this service when I used it was they deliver in like 1 to 3 days, which is pretty good. It's a really quick turnaround. So I didn't really have to actually wait long if I wanted to test products. I could get the ad creatives quickly, test the products within 1 to 3 days, and I hadn't actually stolen the content, so I didn't get any kind of copyright takedowns, which was the biggest part because they're super common when you're actually dropshipping. Now in ecom, you have to constantly test products. The VIP program is actually a pretty good shout to check out if you're actually ordering a lot of ad creatives, because it's actually going to give you some big discounts. There's 75% off on all the packages on the website and 30% off on UGC content, and even quicker video delivery times if you're working on the clock like I usually am. I test and kill products super quick with dropshipping because I want to see results in the first 1 to 2 days, and I only have a limited budget usually for testing, so I want to make sure that I get things done and get the data really quickly. So this is the best package if you want the best kind of deal. Back when I was a beginner and I actually used this website, I just chose the package I actually wanted. Then there was like a form that I had to fill out. You just typed in like what you actually wanted from the ads, maybe some custom benefits or pros of the product, and then after a few days passed, I'd get a bunch of personalized ads and a link to download them based on the product I actually linked to them. But now UGC is actually king of content, right? No longer do you just run basic Facebook ads. UGC content and authentic looking organic reviews seem to convert the best, and that's what I have actually recently seen a lot of success with in running on some products that I've been testing. This type of creative is just what's converting for me right now. If you don't know how to do this, basically you can actually get the UGC package on there too, and they just take complete care of it for you. They get a real creator to basically review your product in an authentic looking way, and it's just a huge hack. Trust me, if you want to get into UGC content, it just converts really well. People are getting smarter in terms of seeing like what's an ad and recognizing that it is an ad, so creating stuff with UGC makes them actually want to watch it like it's an organic video they scroll through on social media. So if you're actually serious about achieving some kind of level of success in dropshipping and ecom in 2024, time to stop watching those educational videos for a whole bunch of dopamine and actually get into it and start testing it and get that same success for yourself. Get out your comfort zone, check out the link down below if you want to get some ad creatives, and also to get the free cheat sheet for all these products to test them out for yourself and start running some ads on Facebook and TikTok. Trust me, investing in ads is actually a game changer. If you don't buy them from an agency, then you have to basically create them yourself or hire people to create them for you. So this saves you a whole bunch of time, especially when the products are getting super saturated now and there's so many competitors and everyone are using the same cookie cutter ads. The customer is going to recognize they've seen the same ad everywhere, so you just really need to stand out, and this is the best way. So click the link down below and get started and start running some ads in January and seeing some real results. One annoying thing that I found is you will categorically, always will, as a beginner at least, struggle with cash flow, okay? Because if it's your first winning product or if you don't have much capital saved, you're going to run into cash flow problems, and that gets really annoying because it prevents you from scaling up really quickly because you're actually held down by those cash flow restrictions. So what do I mean by this? Well, first of all, PayPal's great, but one thing I found is that PayPal have a £1,700, that's like $2,000 limit per month until they start putting your money on hold. Now I heard about PayPal holds, but I didn't think it was this aggressive. So when I'd actually made more than £1,700 of revenue, around 2k, basically my money went on hold. So I had literally thousands stuck in PayPal that I had to wait 21 days for from the date of that payment to actually receive it. So I had so much money held up in PayPal that I couldn't afford to fulfill orders. So I was always behind by a few extra days because I didn't have the money coming in. It was basically being stolen by PayPal. So that was a problem. Now they claim that they'll free it up even quicker if you add tracking codes for your orders onto PayPal's platform manually. So you have to go on PayPal, add the tracking numbers to show them you're actually physically shipping it. But even when I did that, they still kept it on hold, and I had to actually still wait like 3 weeks for my money. So I had like, I think like 3 to 4k stuck in PayPal, which I couldn't even access, which is really a big problem. I think it was like £3,700, which is stuck on hold indefinitely for a really long time. And I think by this point I've received all of it now, but they did take like £400 of it because of some customer refund cases that got opened, which I also can't win right now because my PayPal got suspended, which is another problem. Basically, they'll make any excuse in the book to actually not give you your money. Not only did it take a long time to get my money, but PayPal then asked for business documents to verify my account. And then what they did is they checked the age on my ID, and they said your account was created before you were 18 based on your ID information. So we're now also going to permanently suspend your PayPal account. So as well as not having access to your funds for now, you can't buy or sell or make any kind of transaction on PayPal. So they made an excuse to make it even worse for me by suspending me. And because of that, they also said you now don't have seller protection on any transactions on PayPal. So someone can literally just open a case versus me, say they didn't receive the item. I can respond and say, look, here's the tracking. They received the item, but they don't care about the proof. They'll just refund the buyer anyway because I have no seller protection. So I actually lost like a few £100s so far from that, and I have to go and claim it all back. And you have to go through such an extensive process to actually get your money back from PayPal. So I personally just stopped using PayPal because they suspended my account, they indefinitely held my funds, and it just got crazy annoying. Now my conversion rate went down from 4.5% to 2.4% when I stopped using PayPal, but it was still profitable. So it did affect it greatly, but it was still profitable without it, and it was too much of a headache, so I just removed it entirely because of that. As a beginner, I wouldn't recommend PayPal unless you have some money saved and you can actually front some of the bill yourself. If you're behind on orders and ads because your money's being held up, it's going to cause a problem and cause you to crash. So I wouldn't recommend using PayPal if you're not ready for those problems that arise. So borrowing from credit cards can help you, but you need to become financially literate before you use them, right? The reason being is if you use a credit card and you don't know how to pay it back, you're going to get yourself in a whole bunch of debt. Now, what credit card did I use? Well, I used one called the Amex Gold, which is one of the most popular ones from American Express, which a lot of dropshippers use. Now, I'm using the personal rewards card, but I made the mistake of getting that card when the best card really is actually the business card. So if you do get an Amex, make sure to get the business one because you have like some extra days to pay the money back and you have like better cash flow with it. But right now I'm using the personal rewards card. Maybe I'll switch to it in the future. I do have quite a low credit line with it though. It's like £1,500, which is like $1,800. I only had to use it once, and if I keep consistently paying it back and I keep using it, I might be able to get like 10, 20 or 30k on the credit line. So credit cards, this isn't financial advice. Do verse yourself in how to use them first so you don't lose any money. But from my personal account and experience, which I'm telling you now, I found that using a credit card to scale is great, but don't use it to test. Don't use a credit card to test products, because if the campaign doesn't work, you're going to lose money if you can't pay back that credit card. What you want to do is test with a debit card with money you can lose, and then when the campaign is profitable, consistently profitable and ready for scaling, use your Amex and scale it to the moon. That's what I do. That's my personal account. Don't take that as financial advice, but credit cards for scaling, not for testing. Next up is people will copy you. It's natural, okay? There's a saying like copying is like an art if you actually copy them but improve it and make it better. Copying is kind of flattery, right? If someone likes what you're doing, if what you're doing works, the whole market is going to be for your throat and they're going to try and steal your ideas. It's just natural. People will copy you, but the problem that I found is they won't just copy you. They'll not just be inspired. They'll literally copy you verbatim, word for word, right? They'll rip your ads, and as well as ripping your ads, even when they're watermarked, by the way, they have absolutely no shame. They'll also copy and paste your product page. I had someone who copied like my whole product page word for word and like the theme and design of it and my ads. It's just crazy. One competitor cloned all my ads, they cloned my website, they copied my style of my logo, and they basically scaled them too. So I could see they were making like a few K a day off my content, which was kind of a little bit depressing. But this is the problem, okay? Whether you like it or not, you're gonna have to DMCA people. I really hate the idea of DMCAing people because I feel like there's enough money in the market for everyone just to like win together. But when it gets to the point that they're stealing your ads consistently, they're scaling your ads, and they're like copying your whole website and funnel without even editing it, it just gets really annoying. Because if someone uses your content as inspiration, that's fine, but if they rip it all really lazily, just verbatim one-to-one copy, at that point you've just got to take them down. Because on TikTok, if someone steals your ads, it actually genuinely affects my performance. So if you were to go on my page and steal all my ads would slowly start to perform less as you scale up my ads. Okay, so it actually affects my business. So in the end, I had to issue DMCAs to people. I don't like it, but do know this is risky, because for some people, when they get angry, they'll leak your product and leak your website and all your ads. So you need to know, if you DMCA people, if you DMCA the wrong person who's really salty, there is a risk, and you need to figure out, is it worth doing it? But if you're losing money because someone's copying you, you kind of need to do it. It's just kind of like a greater evil, right? But I don't really like doing it. It's in poor taste, and I try not to do it unless they just don't listen, right? Competitors will be brutal. That's one thing I've learned. Even the competitors that straight up copy you and rip you, they will go an extra mile just to be even worse, right? I had competitors which were literally stealing my product page, stealing my ads, cloning my whole offer and website. And then, not only did they stop there, they had no shame in stealing watermark ads and copying all my content. They then also left fake bad reviews to try and bully me out of the market. Then they undercut my offer by making theirs cheaper, and they used like some really other immoral tactics to try and wipe me out, and they really didn't care. And most of the people who do these are just teenagers who are trying to like make some money with dropshipping, and they have no shame or morals in trying to take you down and make money at any cost. So you're going to run into these problems. You need to have a level of professionalism or have a branded store which has more integrity if you want to beat these people. So if your website looks brandable and it looks like it could be trusted, and you're making your own content and ads, that's the only way that you can beat them at their own game, because these people are usually just ripping and they don't put in any effort. So if you're actually putting in effort and thinking out of the box and acting like a real brand, that's how you can win them at their own game. So you need to treat this like a real business, have a branded store and make your own content, and anyone who copies you or uses these like really bad tactics, you'll just win in the end. That's what I did and it seemed to work, right? So that's my advice to you, because you will get cloned, you will get copied, and you will have these immature people who just try and rip you. So that's the only way you can deal with them. Customers will also be difficult. Everyone knows this. That's why there's the saying, the customer is always right, because customers, let's be honest, we like to be nice and professional and courteous to them, but they're a headache. Customers will be difficult, and they'll do things like they'll try and change the order and say to you that like it was your mistake. So they'll say, look, I wanted this variant of your product and I ordered this variant, but you gave me this variant, and they'll say it was your fault. Like, I'll see people's original order where they've ordered one thing and then they'll tell me that they ordered a completely different thing and I need to change it because it's my fault when they actually made the mistake. And they'll come back and they'll do it again. So they'll make you change. I had situations where I've changed people's order, just being nice to them, and then when I ship their order, they'll then have the cheek to come back and say, look, I want to cancel my order or I want to change it again. And there's some real difficult people. There's a whole bunch of Karens who make business super hard, and it gets annoying, right? Some will even lie about not receiving it, and they'll do fraudulent chargebacks to try and get the product for free. And they'll even open a case or a dispute against you and say that they've not received it, and then you have to go and provide the tracking and say that they have received it, and usually you'll win. But there's some situations where you still lose the case and they scam you. So there's some real bad customers. The thing though that annoyed me the most, which I have to deal with, is if I have shipping times where it says 2 weeks to get there, and then someone opens a case against me saying they didn't receive the product and they've only waited 6 days, I literally sometimes lose money because people haven't actually read the shipping times and they don't want to wait. So that's really annoying. You're gonna have to prepare for these Karens because they make your life so hard. And mainly what I think this is because they're so used to ordering off Amazon, where they get like A1 customer service, that once they get to you and you're not providing that Amazon tier service, which most of us can't give yet, right? Because we're not billionaires, then they're gonna actually really kill you for it. So be prepared for that storm, because you're gonna get some difficult customers. Also, another one is you need a good supplier. I can't stress this enough, right? It's great to like validate a product and test with a service. Like for an example, CJ Dropshipping is really good. You can use my link below if you want to sign up. That's like the best mainstream supplier company. But once you validate a product and you really start to scale it, you're gonna want like really good prices that are competitive and really competitive shipping times. So you're gonna need a private supplier, right? It's important to find a private supplier, and you need to vet them or get one that other people actually recommended to you, where they've used them and they can tell you that they're honest and they're not a scam. Because if you get like one who hasn't been vouched for, they can just go run away with your money. I actually got my current private supplier through a connect in the e-com space who actually referred me to his supplier in like a Discord, and also one like contact I made through those Discords actually used that supplier too. So I had like 2 good reviews for this guy, so then I decided to do business with him. Okay, so make sure you have vouchers, make sure that you have people who are actually saying that they're good. Having a supplier is like having a more personal line to the fulfillment side, so you can ask questions, you can get like more one-to-one support on like missing packages and like getting custom products. It really works a lot better. They can source products for you much easier. It's just a much better experience as a business. You'll have to always pay for the product first before it's shipped, so you can very easily get scammed. One problem I'm running into right now is my supplier, because of low stock on Chinese New Year, has actually accidentally or intentionally sent out a few variants which are different to try and meet the demand. So I'm having some problems where we're having to do some refunds because of it. Now, he says that he'll help solve it, so that's good, but you don't really want people to cut corners like that because it can really bite you in the back in the end. Also, product research is key, okay? You need to know how to research products in the general market as a whole and market sentiment to see what products are actually in demand right now in the market and what do people want. You can use a tool for this, like for an example, Miner is a really good tool. They have some great AI features. They have daily winning product lists, and they have like an ad spy and a product spy so you can see what's working. I'll link that down below if you want to sign up. I've got a referral link, and I personally use this as well as PP ads, and this is really what I use to find popular products and ads to see what's working before I actually test them. You always need to validate a product before you actually run a test, because even products which are really working right now, you might not be able to get them to work. So you need to at least test stuff which work, because they're not always going to work anyway, even if other people are successful with them. So don't just test loads of products, validate them first, make sure there's demand, and do good product research. I have videos on product research on my channel, all the methods I use, so go check them out if you don't know what you're doing. And one big point is you need money to make money, okay? I repeat that, you need money to make money. In terms of business, the only business which I found that you can make money from nothing with is YouTube. But e-commerce is not that kind of business. You need money to make money. Unless you've literally got hours to spend on making TikTok organic content and you know what you're doing, you're not going to make money with dropshipping unless you already have some kind of capital, or at least you have an active income. I had to use money from my YouTube income to actually fund my dropshipping business, okay? To spend money on ads to test products. If I didn't have an income or some kind of like job, that wouldn't have worked out for me, okay? So dropshipping is not a beginner business unless you're doing organic. If you're running ads, you need some kind of capital. Ads cost a lot, right? When I was scaling this product up, which I didn't scale it enough, but before I had to stop because of Chinese New Year, I was spending like $800 a day, probably like £800 a day at the peak on ads, which is pretty crazy. And that's obviously why I needed to use a credit card in certain situations, because I didn't have like a lot of accessible funds. But that's why you can see those really high revenue numbers at the start of this video, because we were spending that much on ads, okay? You're going to need to spend a lot on ads, and money is usually taking like 2 or 3 days to come in. So if you don't start with capital, you're not going to be able to afford that. So you do need some money to start. Especially with cash flow issues, this surpassed my actual savings I had to start out with, which is why I had to actually dip into like borrowing off a card, which obviously since it was working, that wasn't risky. I managed to borrow a little bit and then also use the Amex, so I managed to get myself back in the game. But these are the kind of things you need to think about, right? But don't think you can just scale up to these 10k days like what all these gurus show you, right? Because as a beginner, I actually personally did this extremely slowly, and I monitored my cash flow just to be careful, okay? To scale up to those figures you saw, that took about 2.5 weeks to get that revenue, and I wasn't even like at the peak of scale. I didn't even scale that much, right? That figure I showed you at the start of the video, I was making like 10% of that each day, so pretty high numbers, but I wasn't scaled a crazy way, and it took me like a week to scale up to that consistent daily revenue. So you need to be really slow with scaling, especially with cash flow, or you're just going to completely kill your ad account and then you'll have to stop selling it. And my last point I'm going to talk about is plan ahead. Right now is Chinese New Year. It started, I think, like at the end of January, and it's going to like end on, well, it's not going to end, but people go back to work on February the 18th. So for us dropshippers, it stops being a problem then. But basically, Chinese New Year is something you always have to plan ahead with. I did research, but I still wasn't really prepared. Unfortunately, I had to scale my product back quite a bit in the coming days before Chinese New Year, because obviously we couldn't really meet the demand. And I also couldn't afford the stock yet, because I was only just reaching success with dropshipping. So since I started with like 1k, I only had like a few k in my bank, and stock would obviously have costed me like 20k or something to get like enough stock to last me the whole month. So I didn't have enough money for stock, so I had to stop selling during Chinese New Year. But luckily my supplier actually bought me some extra time, so he bought me like an extra week of selling, which was pretty cool. But eventually I did actually have to close up shop and stop selling for 3 weeks for Chinese New Year. These are things you have to be prepared for, right? Because I see a lot of people selling right now who don't have stock, and they're still going to sell for the whole month through Chinese New Year, and they're going to be behind on shipping by 1 to 2 months, and they're going to get a whole bunch of refunds and chargebacks. It's best just to stop selling so you don't have so many of those buyers trying to get refunds, because you're just going to crash your bank account, right? So be prepared for these kind of situations. And most people's problems as well is they don't have a supplier, so they can't actually source stock for Chinese New Year, so they've just got to stop selling even if they've got a winner. If you saved up a lot of money, or if you're just starting off with quite a lot of capital, it's a really good idea to actually buy stock just before Chinese New Year and get your supplier to hold it in their warehouse house, because then when all of your competitors stop selling, you're going to be like the only one, or like the only one out of a small pool of people selling in the market at that time. And you've got like 3 or 4 weeks to scale that up to the moon and outsell anyone who has to stop selling. So that's going to really get you ahead. So if you want to get ahead, that's a really good idea. Make sure to buy some units to actually get ahead, so you've got enough time to actually prepare for that, because the factories do shut down for Chinese New Year, which is when your suppliers won't be able to get the product anymore. And that's what we're going through right now. So guys, make sure to like the video and subscribe, because I've got some really great e-commerce and dropshipping source on this channel, which is completely free. I always share what works for me on this channel to try and help you guys out. I also do have a free Discord you can join down below too, so you guys can like network with people and chat about dropshipping and what's working right now. And also, if you click the join button below this video where it says join, you can become a channel member and get the premium Discord membership access in my Discord. And that's where I post all of the private PDFs on ad scaling and testing strategies, which are working for me right now on TikTok and Facebook, all of the methods which I'm using to scale, and how I make really great ad creatives. I'm basically sharing all my insider knowledge in that Discord for premium members. So click join below if you want to actually join that and actually get some success this year with dropshipping and e-commerce, because I'm gatekeeping all of the best tips inside there. Anything that I learned that's working through my own experience, because I am actually dropshipping, unlike most of these gurus who are lying to you, I'll share in that Discord. So if you want to join, check that out, because I'm getting a lot of Instagram DMs. I'm trying to help people for free on this channel and on Instagram as much as I can. But if you want to go to the next level and learn directly from me, click the join button below. That's completely new. So if you want to know what strategies are working for me right now, that's the best place to get some direct help from me and ask questions, and I'll answer them and also help you out if you have any problems with your ad campaign. So that's the best place to reach me and get support for insider tips, and finally get your first 1K day and above with dropshipping. So check that out down below. You can also message me on Instagram. My Instagram's The Blue Crusader. If you want to do some kind of like one-on-one coaching or support, we can sort that out too. And now in 1 week's time, Chinese New Year will be over and we'll be back in the game.